Hi, welcome to another episode of Unboxing Entrepreneurship. As entrepreneurs, we usually know who our customers are, what their demographics are, and what is it that we can offer them. But it's equally important to know why they will want to do business with us. Why should they buy what you're offering? And that is customer perspective. So, my guest today, Neetu Bansal, who's an international business coach, is going to talk about just that. Let's get right into it. Hi, Neetu. Welcome to Unboxing Entrepreneurship.
Thank you so much, Pallavi, for having me over here. I love the name and I'm excited to for the session today.
Yeah, so throughout these last few conversations that I've had, we've literally unboxed different areas of entrepreneurship. We've talked about finance, we've talked about how you got started, how to get a co-founder. There's just like so many things to entrepreneurship that you may not know when you get into it. And I feel like it's like peeling an onion, layer after layer after layer. But
I can imagine that.
Yeah, but we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, which I think we've discussed before that a lot of entrepreneurs ignore or they may not have the awareness when they get into it. But before we get into the topic, let's do a quick introduction. Neetu, what brings you here? What's your journey been like?
So, what brings me here? What's my journey? Okay, I've been an entrepreneur from the age of 17.
Hmm.
Okay, that's more than 3 decades now. And I've made my share of mistakes all the time. And like you said, I wish there was somebody who would have mentored me, guided me, or at least I could have spoken to. We think we know everything when we
Yeah,
are in that space, and we think we know everything about our business, the best things, what is the best thing for our business. But there's so many blind spots we're unaware of, right?
yeah.
And so that's what I'm trying to do. Help today's entrepreneur, whether they are a startup or a seasoned entrepreneur,
Hmm.
become aware of these blind spots and how they can use that information to make to prepare themselves in a manner that they don't take that years to realize those mistakes and then change themselves, right?
Yeah.
That's where I'm here from.
Awesome, awesome. And do you work with any particular type of entrepreneur, any particular geography, or is it open for all?
Interesting that you've asked that, right? I've just not been able to work in one particular geography,
Hmm.
mainly because my clients come to me from Africa,
Hmm.
predominantly Ghana,
Hmm.
from a small portion from the US, and then of course India. So
Hmm.
across these continents, actually, I
Hmm.
work with startups.
Hmm.
I work with solopreneurs, womenpreneurs, and I also work with large SMEs, family-owned businesses,
Hmm.
second, third generation who are
Hmm.
trying to corporatize their entire business. I kind
Hmm.
of work across this entire spectrum of
Hmm.
entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So that's a lot of different, I mean, that's a lot of different geographies. That's a lot of different levels, scales of companies, and a lot of different mindsets. Yet
Mhm.
when, we were discussing about what we are going to talk today, you were very quick to say, let's talk about customer perspective. I'm
Yes.
guessing that that's something that you have seen across geographies and across all these variety of people that you work with.
Absolutely, Pallavi. So, when I started with this entire business coaching and mentoring, I did not have a special focus on customer perspective.
Mm.
That clarity came to me when I actually worked with organizations across different global geographies
Mm.
and, like you said, across different stages. And I
Mm.
realized this was one thing which was commonly lacking
Mm.
with every entrepreneur or the leadership team of an organization.
Mm.
So as an entrepreneur, we're very passionate about our business, and that's what we
Yes.
have to be,
Yes.
right? But then that passion does not give you space to think equally passionately about the customer,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
So that's where I realized whether it was a startup, whether it was an
Mm.
established organization, whether it's in one part of the globe or the other part, this was one common area which I always felt when I started working with the entrepreneurs. It was like a wow moment. Saying, oh, we did not think about it in this manner, right?
Mm.
Is nazar se dekha hi nahi tha kind of a
Right.
situation. That's where I started, making that as one of my the niche area.
Yeah.
I keep advising everybody for niche area. So this is
Hmm.
my niche area. I am very, very passionate about applying customer perspective in business.
Awesome. So help clarify something for me. See, when
Mm.
entrepreneurs start something, they do have an idea of who they are serving, right? They may
Mhm.
have some demographic information to say these are the areas, this is the age group, gender, blah blah. They also may have some understanding of interests and stage of
Correct.
life, all of that. Would you say that that is customer perspective? Sorry, would you say that that is
Perspective.
customer perspective, or is it something much beyond that?
It's actually much beyond that.
Mm,
What you're saying is more about the customer profiling and customer persona.
mm,
Okay. So that's the fundamental building blocks of the customer perspective, right?
yeah.
You need to start from there. Now,
Mm,
what is interesting is a lot of organizations do not even have this information. One.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Two, the second stage would be organizations have the demographic information about their customers,
Mm,
you know, age, geography, gender, education,
mm,
annual income,
mm,
broadly, these are the locations and all of
mm,
these things they have. This is the demographic information, they
mm,
have it, right?
mm,
But they're not using that information in their
mm,
business.
mm,
Okay. The third one is they have the psychographic. This is how they behave. Right.
mm,
That's a third stage, right? They have information about the psychographic. Again, not everybody has that, but
mm,
some of them have that.
mm,
But they don't know how to use this. They don't
mm,
know how to use it in sales, marketing, or customer service.
mm, mm,
Right. So
mm.
I think so. This is at the fundamental level. There is so much of gap only in these fundamental
Yeah.
three stages,
Mm,
and then after that, there's more about the customer is a wholesome unit.
yeah.
The business is a wholesome unit. Okay.
Mm,
If you just draw parallel with one or two points, you're not
mm,
doing justice to the whole concept the of the customer for your business,
mm, mm,
right?
mm,
So let me just tell you simply, okay? Businesses generally treat customer as somebody who's very limited and passive. It's as
mm,
if the customer is waiting to be
mm,
served your product
mm,
or your service,
mm,
okay? And then they are going to decide whether they're going to consume it,
mm.
and if they're going to consume it, how much are they going to be? I mean, what are they ready to pay for that
Yeah.
consumption, right?
Mm,
That's a general perspective.
mm,
But the reality is the customer is not sitting on waiting for businesses to reach out to them. Customer is
mm,
busy with his or her own world.
mm, mm,
They are living their world.
mm.
Okay, you as a business are actually getting into their space.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not the opposite where the customer is waiting to get into your business. So
Mm,
you're going towards them, right? So now if you start looking at that, you need to look at the customer as a holistic entity as such, right? So we're
mm,
looking at, like you said, certain things of what are they, not just what they're expecting from your product,
mm,
okay, or your service. It's more about what are they doing
mm,
day to day
mm,
activities, what is capturing their interest, what is keeping them busy,
mm,
right?
mm, mm.
You need to kind of understand all of those things, even if it does not directly connect with your product,
Yeah.
because they're going to be leaving all of those things to start engaging with your product. So they are competing, that both all those things are actually capturing, competing for the customer's attention,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the moment you start looking at that, suddenly there's so much more that you can do if you understand those concepts about the customer.
Yeah. I guess one of the things that I take away from this is you also have to realize that, um, you know, like you say, businesses think that customers are waiting for their product. And so it kind of gives you that, you're at a slightly higher level, but you realize that, oh, hang on, I'm actually interrupting a customer's life. So
Yes,
I need to bring my marketing down to that level, which makes it part of the customer's life, right?
absolutely.
Whether it's your social media or anything, it has to seamlessly fit into what the customer wants to see. You cannot interrupt their scrolling to say something which is totally different. They will totally ignore you, right?
Absolutely. So it's like when I say, I think you've used the word very well, interrupt, right?
Mm.
You're actually interrupting what the customer is doing, what the customer is busy with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
And he or she is not busy with another product, another competition. They are busy with a lot of other things. And
Yes.
you're just a minuscule thought, maybe, right? So
Mm.
what you need to do is interrupt. You need to raise your hand
Mm.
and you need to say something
Mm.
which will capture their attention.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
But before that, you need to raise your hand amongst
Mm.
all the sea of, imagine there are so many other products and services out there who are
Mm.
trying to compete for the same attention from the
Mm.
customer.
Mm.
First, you need to be seen. Now, and everybody's shouting equally loud today,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
Everybody's putting content out there,
Mm.
lovely creatives. They're all looking very nice.
Mm.
Okay, they're all very professionalized. So how do you now distinguish yourself from that sea, right?
Mm.
You can only do that is that if you know your customer so intimately, you know
Correct.
that what, even if you whisper that, the customer is going to get their attention. I know it's sounding very fancy, but
Mm.
that's the reality of things today, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Shouting the loudest is not the matter. It's not relevant anymore.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if it works for some brands, and not really from the perspective of that, their sales are going to shoot through the roof. Like if you're sponsoring the IPL or sponsoring something else, that's not necessarily capturing your customers' attention. It's just maintaining a high profile that particular brand is used to, which is simply not possible for a small business, right? For a small business, the most important thing is that, does your customer relate to you? Are they really interested in what you're selling? Does it make a difference to their life? So for a small
Absolutely.
business, I think you really have to flip the perspective around and say, don't think from the perspective that I need to sell this because this is my baby. not not literally, but
Correct.
I need to sell this because this I have created this. No, you need to sell it because your customer needs it, and you need to tell the customer that this is what you have been waiting for. This is going to make a
Correct.
difference in your life,
Absolutely.
right?
Correct. There's this very nice incident where Henry Ford, I think he's the one who said, right? If you ask the customers what they want, they'll say, I want faster horses.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
So that's another perspective, because
Mm.
not all the customers are going to be aware that they need
Mm.
your product or service,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
Not because yours is so unique that
Mm.
nobody else has it, or they've never heard of the concept before. It's not
Mm.
about
Mm.
selling a car to people who've been riding horses, but it's also about he or she is already happy with whatever they're doing. They already
Correct.
have a product or a service,
Mm.
or another situation where they're happy with doing things manually or not doing it at all,
Yeah.
right? Even
Mm.
these are your competitors, actually.
Mm.
Not
Mm.
doing a thing, not buying, not having a particular product or a service can is also a competitor. So how do you, like you said, first is get the attention. Second
Mm.
is how do you engage them,
Mm. Mm.
right? So you've got the attention. Then if
Mm.
you're not engaged, whatever you're not engaging them,
Mm.
it's gone. They
Mm.
know about you, but it's nothing. That's where a lot of brands today just they are the ones who can afford, they're spending a
Mm.
lot of money on their marketing,
Mm.
but not everybody who's spending that huge bucks is also
Mm.
getting those results, right?
Yeah.
Because you shout out and then you have nothing relevant to say.
Mm.
Right? So then
Mm.
that's where you need to like engage them, and then now that you've got the attention
Mm.
and the interest of the customers,
Mm.
then you present your product or your service in a
Mm.
manner which is relevant to them,
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So saying that I am the world's first so and so,
Mm.
great, that's great. But what is it? What is in it for me as a
Exactly.
customer,
Yeah. What is
right?
in it for me? Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. So that if that is an answer, you may be the world's first. But that's where very interestingly, when I work with some of the businesses,
Mm.
and they say, hey, I'm going to do a Google ad.
Mm.
Okay, I'm like, okay, fine, great. So what are you going to put up on the ad? What's the intention of the ad? So this is where
Mm.
you're talking about the business. There's
Mm.
no, we want customers to get to know us. I said, okay,
Mm.
and then,
Mm.
I mean, we don't have this huge marketing budgets. So it's
Mm.
not just about getting to know. We want them to do something, right? What is it?
Yeah.
We want them to show an interest in our product and maybe make an inquiry. So
Mm.
okay, you've got the hierarchy of that. So
Mm.
now let's take from the customer's perspective.
Mm.
Why would
Mm.
they click on an ad.
Mm.
If you are saying we are the world's so and so first one,
Yeah.
does that, I mean, is your customer going to click on that?
Mm.
Maybe,
Mm.
but not everybody,
Mm.
right? So what will make the customer click on that?
Mm.
So one is that, you make it very clear in your ad or content that this is
Mm.
meant for you as a customer. Hey, if
Mm.
you are a retailer who
Mm.
is selling X products, I'm
Mm.
talking to you,
Yeah.
So you need, because the customer has to recognize this ad is for me. I mean, not in terms of, uh, you know, again, it's what's in it for me. If it's just an ad for any retailer, for
Yeah.
example,
Mm.
could be, I mean, there's so many retailers. There's somebody
Mm.
who's selling clothes. There's somebody who's selling food.
Mm.
So you have to be very clear on that, right? So now you start looking from the customer's perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, now it makes sense. Now, what's
Mm.
the problem that they have? Can we add that problem in an ad? Can we
Mm.
refer it to maybe a one-liner?
Mm.
Is the customer going to be looking at your brand name at that time or the problem? Which one is going to be looking at first? If he's
Correct.
going to looking at his problem, so the problem should be bigger in the ad. Your name
Mm.
brand may be smaller now, for now. At some
Yeah.
point of time, we'll change that. But for now, for this intention, so
Mm.
see how the whole concept completely changes of what you're going to put up in an ad. The moment starts looking at their perspective.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you take the example of a lot of productivity tools out there, right? The traditional way of marketing, which I would say maybe about 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, was very, very feature driven. We've
Yep.
got this, we've got that, you can add these many users, it's collaborative, it's on the cloud, blah, 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 etc., etc. But now when you look at these productivity tools, they are literally telling you that this is what we can do for you. So
Correct.
one productivity tool may say help you do things faster, and immediately when I read that, I don't know that I'm doing things slower, but if someone's telling me that they can help me do things
Yes,
faster,
very nice. Yes.
I'm willing to try it out, right?
In fact, if you see even the way the pricing is now for the SaaS, the way it's divided now. Earlier,
Mm.
it used to be silver, platinum, gold, whatever
Yeah.
categories. Okay. Today, it's saying small businesses, small teams, large teams, individual users, business
Mm.
users. So, the whole, this is an example. But what's
Mm.
interesting is the larger organizations are actually doing this.
Mm.
The smaller SMEs, the startups, they don't realize that they're not doing that. And
Mm.
it's not something, size doesn't matter here. You don't
Mm.
have to be so huge for you can actually do it at your level today.
Mm. Mm.
And that's what I'm trying to kind of educate entrepreneurs, saying that this is one thing. You
Mm.
don't have to spend huge amount of money,
Mm.
but you need to really get into the mind of the customer. So you will
Mm.
spend a lot of time to get into this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, one last question. So when you are coaching businesses in this whole looking at it from a customer's perspective, do you think that these are very large changes that the business needs to make, or is it made up of a lot of small, iterative changes to communication or to whatever it is? Just walk us through that process.
It's very small. It's actually sometimes, the power is a fact that it's so simple.
Hmm.
And when you see something so simple and you think that, oh, why didn't I think about this?
Hmm.
That's why I call it a perspective.
Hmm.
Changing perspectives is sometimes very difficult.
Hmm.
And you're even unconscious. You're not conscious of the fact that, you have a boxed in perspective
Yeah.
about your business, your product, or your service, right?
Hmm.
When somebody else comes in and
Hmm.
questions you and say, hey, why aren't you doing this? Don't you think the customer would find it easier to do
Hmm.
this?
Hmm.
Or, because they find it easier, they'll
Hmm.
respond to it also,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And they say, oh yeah, it's not going to cost me from
Hmm.
doing it this manner or in that manner, but that manner is so much more easier for my customer.
Hmm.
you know
Hmm.
so it's very interesting that when I'm doing this exercise with people and I'm questioning them, this is
Hmm.
aha moments for them. it's
Hmm.
and it's in the first half an hour. It's not something which is you know like you said, it's not like it'll take a lot of time or money to do that.
Yeah.
You start you The quick successes are so quick to find
Hmm.
that people are surprised ki, Arey, we can do this,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
then the moment the moment you get that, then they realize, oh, this is, once they get a taste of it, it's like
Yeah.
okay, I've done it in here. Can I do it in this? Can I do it in that? So you start, going across literally every function of your business. Of
Correct.
course, you start with the customer facing functions, but you can also
Mm.
do it in the non-customer facing functions.
Mm.
Look at it, everything from the customer's perspective.
Mm. Mm.
Is um is it easy for the customer
Mm.
to consume this product or this service at that
Mm.
moment? Is it easy
Mm.
for them to reach you? Is this what they want? What are they
Mm.
expecting out of it? Things like that. So imagine it's almost like
Mm.
an audit that you do for each function of your business, and
Yeah.
then you will find lots of the small things.
Mm.
When you
Mm.
start putting them into place together, they
Mm.
have a snowballing effect.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I believe that having a customer perspective, I mean, of course, it helps you in what you have already created and what is already live, but it also helps you in the future because when you're thinking about launching new products or new service, you will not think about, what is it that I want to bring out. You will listen to what your customer has said. You will identify opportunities from the conversations that you've had, from the tickets that have been
Correct.
raised, all of that, and then you'll say, oh, I feel that there is a gap in what we are offering and what the customer needs. Nobody else is fulfilling that gap. Let me go ahead and create something on that own, and I believe that the success rate of that would be much higher.
Absolutely. I think we have enough of stories out there of organizations who've got into a crowded market,
Hmm.
but still found something which it resonates with the customer,
Yeah.
right? Because
Hmm.
they have actually listened to the customer. They've gone and gone beyond the obvious. That's
Hmm.
what. The other thing which you mentioned was the data,
Hmm.
right? A
Hmm.
lot of us don't even realize that we're sitting on a mine of data, but we're not using it,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
What are most companies, what do they have? They have email IDs, phone numbers, they spam them on emails, okay,
Hmm.
or you have the telecallers calling you up. That's one thing. That's the
Hmm.
age old data that you've got of the customer. But you've got so much of data about about first is in your invoices itself,
Hmm.
the time, the frequency, um, uh, how often do they buy. The subscription model, for example, it's a very good
Hmm.
example of how people have actually used the convenience for the customer and created an entire revenue model around the subscription model
Yeah.
for all your consumables, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So how were they able to do it? By looking at the data itself,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
both the hard data and soft data, behavioral data and the hard data. And
Hmm.
today with social media, they're giving you so much of data to
Hmm.
begin with.
Hmm.
For the people, there's enough of analytics that they're giving for you to start your journey over there.
Yeah.
You will realize that there are certain pieces of information which is missing, which you've not gathered at all,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
that happens at the later stage. But all of this is there. It's about, but the problem is people are not aware and they're not using that
They're not
information
using it. Hmm.
practically in every aspect of their business. The sales
Absolutely.
guys will be using something, but the marketing guys are completely unaware of it. Marketing guys will have some knowledge. The
Hmm.
customer service team is completely unaware of it.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I actually resonate with your social media example. I mean, I have been active on social media for the last 2 years, and when I started, I had very clear pillars of what I was going to post, right? But over time, as when I started talking to people and talking to other small business owners, they would constantly come back to me and ask me certain questions. So I actually
Mm-hmm.
started a series called Questions Entrepreneurs Ask, because then these are
Mm-hmm.
questions that have come from real people, right? They have
Correct.
asked me or someone
Mm-hmm.
else, or they've raised that query about, how do we do this? How do I manage my budget or whatever it is, right? Now, those kind of posts are obviously doing better because these are real questions. I can talk about fluffy how to run Facebook
Correct.
ads on a budget, which is very generic. But if you talk about something that is a very relatable point, then obviously the interaction with the audience is much better, and they feel that, yeah, you understand what it is that we need.
Absolutely. I agree with that, right? And I think a lot of people know that and they're using it in their using, and you see that's why those posts actually resonate more with your customers also,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, you've clinched that.
All right, so that's a good conversation about customer perspective. I I mean, I guess the summary of this all is that before doing anything, you first need to know exactly who your customer is. What, not just the demographic, right? What are their problems? What are their wants and needs? Because then only you are able to really, I would say, hone your entire communication, your entire business strategy to serve the real customer. Otherwise, you're just serving some unknown people and without really understanding what is it that they need.
I agree with that, right? Very well, very fantastically summarized.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Neetu, for coming on Unboxing Entrepreneurship and sharing your information and knowledge. I'm sure it'll be very helpful to the entrepreneurs.
And thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to talk about something which I'm so passionate about. You can make or I spoke quite a lot. So my apologies for that, but I love this topic and I can talk forever on this.
Absolutely. You were a treat to have. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pallavi.